Welcome to another episode of Life Unleashed. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important topics of raising a new dog or puppy, and that is housebreaking. If you don't have a dog that's housebroken, all you need to do is step in one pile of poop to know how awful it is to have a dog that's not housebroken. Whether you're house training to papers, or a lot of people use grass pads, or you're training your dog to go outside, let's tackle this process once and for all. Now, before I get started, I want to tell you a few of the questions that will be answered by the end of the podcast. How long does housebreaking take? Should I carry my puppy to the spot? Does bell training work? Should I give my puppy treats after pottying? And how to discipline my dog or puppy when they do potty in the house? I will answer all of these questions, I promise. But first, a little background information. Good to know. Dogs perceive your home or apartment as their den. They perceive your yard or the neighborhood you walk around as their territory. And everything else is a great beyond. All dogs inherently like to leave the den to go to the bathroom. And whether that's just getting them to go into a bathroom in your house, if you don't want to take them outside, or getting them to understand they have to leave your apartment or your house to potty, that's our goal. So let's do it. Second fun fact, dogs have the highest concentration of sensory, feeling neurons in their paws. This makes sense, right? Because they're always barefoot. And they can tell if they are peeing on a grassy surface or a mulch or pavement or even a carpet. So we're going to want to at least initially get our dogs routinely comfortable going to the bathroom on the same surface. That really does help. The third thing that's important to know before we start out is if your dogs haven't mastered not going to the bathroom in your kitchen, don't give them the hole downstairs. In other words, restrict the space that you're giving them for their free play and fun. Restrict it until they've mastered housebreaking in that room and extend it slowly. A few other secrets people don't know about dogs is they don't like to pee and poop in the same area. Sometimes you have a rare exception, but it is exceedingly rare. They pee in one area and they like to poop in another. Now, the good thing about dogs is they will give you cues that they need to potty. Even if they're going to potty on your living room rug, at least you'll have a cue. So you can redirect them where you'd like them to go. And here are some cues. Whether they want to pee or poop, they'll generally gravitate away from where you are. So the minute you notice your puppy kind of gravitating away from where you are, your antenna should go up. Dogs will circle or they'll scoot around trying to find the best spot in the room to poop, and that can be a clue. Here's a fun fact. Dogs are said to orient themselves in a north-south posture to poop. Every dog, everywhere, all over the planet, north-south axis. So if you kind of get your little iPhone compass or whatever you use and notice your north-south axis, that could be a tip-off. So they'll move away from you. They'll sniff about. And another tip I give people that's super important is when you are cleaning up their mess, try to distract them. I take a handful of treats and throw it in the other room or throw it outside. Have everything set up. So you got your paper towels, you got your spray away, get it cleaned up fast. The reason I don't want you to clean up in front of your puppy is many puppies think of it as a game. So as soon as your arms are moving about, they're like, attack or nip, or they get super excited with motion. And then if you're holding paper towels or Kleenex, that's even more fun. I mean, what puppy doesn't love paper products? So to distract them while you clean up, toss some treats, 5 or 6, or give them a bone, toss it in the other room, wipe it up, and have your spray solution, your deterrent, your scent deterrent, spray over the mess quick. Last super fun fact, and I literally have a YouTube video on this. The best way to get poop out of your carpet, even if it's day old, hot boiling water. And I'm dead serious. Hot boiling water, as hot as you can get the water. Get your hot water, your rag, your paper towels. Go to the rug, pour a little dab of hot water, and you'll see the poop particles just float to the top of the carpet. I'm dead serious. Poop up. Then you dab it or wipe it. And then you pour a little more hot boiling water, dab, hot boiling water, dab. Soon, there'll be no more mess. And if it's a huge pile or diarrhea, scoop some of that up before you get dabbing and dotting. Once you pull the poop out of the fibers, then spray with your spray deterrent. And remember that all that hot boiling water may have soaked through the carpet and is now sitting on your nice hardwood floor. So prop it up on something. I usually use a pan to air it out, dry the wood beneath, and you're good to go. All these fun facts, and I haven't even gotten to the topic of house training your puppy. These are all good things to know, super good things to know. Now, let's get on to the process of housebreaking a dog. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to go back to the questions so we answer all of them, and you're going to have a roadmap. The very first thing you need to do is to establish a routine in your dog's everyday life. Not only a housebreaking routine, but more importantly, a sleep training routine. Dogs are often very sleep deprived. I'm going to say that again. The dogs that I see are often very sleep deprived. When I ask the owners or the parents, I like to call them, when does your dog go to sleep? They're like, oh, he's bouncing off the walls till like 10, 11 o'clock. And I'm like, oh my God, don't tell me that. Then I say, well, when do they nap? Well, they don't really nap. They just are always restless, pacing, barking at the window. And I jokingly say, like Border Patrol? And they're like, exactly. I'm like, that's not why you got a dog, to be your Border Patrol. So entwined in housebreaking is a sleep training routine. And when I explain it, there's going to be a double benefit. Dogs who are well rested are much calmer and affectionate than dogs who are overtired. Dogs who take naps during the day are more relaxed than dogs who never take naps. Why? $1 million question. Why? Why are dogs who sleep more and are more restful easier to housebreak? Because dealing with an overtired dog is like having an overtired toddler with teeth. Anybody, period, knows that when you don't get the right amount of sleep, you feel cruddy. Fun fact, number who knows how many? Dogs are crepuscular. So we're diurnal. We're awake like 2/3 of the day. Dogs are more awake like 1/3 maximum. And that wanes as they get older to be even more sleepy. So, like many animals, like coyotes and wolves and deer and swans, there are a whole bunch. Most of the domestics, they are most awake at dawn and dusk. And if they are forced to stay up, there's constant commotion and they can't get a really good sleep. And you know what a really good sleep feels like, one hopes. And if a dog can't get a really good afternoon nap, they're just going to be more bouncy, more agitated, more, like an overtired person, just more punchy. Harder to housebreak. They chew more. They are generally more hyper aroused because they're overtired. So let's nail the sleep training routines down, do what's best for our dogs, and in the meantime, get them housebroken. Routine number 1 with housebreaking is designate the surface area you want to go to. I do pine bark mulch. Some people do grass. Urine does stain, so there's that. Some people just do an AstroTurf spot, or they put like an AstroTurf pen in a part of their yard, and that's where the dogs go to the bathroom. I don't care. Pavement is fine. Pick a surface as soon after you get your puppy or dog in the house that's going to be their bathroom surface. If you can, please roll up your rugs, because young puppies, new dogs that maybe weren't housebroken, often won't make, a really theatrical presence when they have to go potty. They'll just sneak off and go on your rug. So let's roll up the rugs. Use gates to isolate your puppy or dog in one room that ideally has access to the door so they can master it one room at a time. Given too much space, letting a dog run all over the house, they're certainly going to be harder to housebreak because they'll just run off, be shaking the kids' stuffed animals, feel like they have to pee and pee there on the bed or the floor. And believe me, I've got 40 years experience behind me. This happens all the time. Restrict the space, let them perfect one rule at a time. So we have our routine, our path to the door. If the dog sleeps in another room, in a crate, or an enclosed area, you can either carry the dog or puppy to the door, put them down at the door, ring the bell, and go out with them. Or if they can hold it from the crate to the door, let them walk through the process themselves. And why this is so important is because they have to create a muscle memory. I feel like I have to go, I have to walk to the door, I have to ring the bell, and then I go outside to my potty area. We need to pick some regular words and consistently use them, almost ad nauseum, and teach them to everybody who's taking part in the housebreaking routine. My words to my dogs, perhaps I shouldn't be saying this so loud, is outside, which means we're going outside. Go to your spot, which means we're navigating to the area they like to go to the bathroom. Then, as they're doing it, unless your dog is trained, house trained, a little further down the path, as your dog is in the process of popping a loaf or peeing on the pavement or whatever you use, say get busy as they go, and say it one time in a clear voice. Get busy. If it's a particularly long pee or a long poop, you can say it again just at the end. But don't say get busy, get busy, get busy. It's like pass the ketchup, the ketchup, the ketchup. It gets too redundant and becomes a different command. Get busy. Wait until they're finished or about finished. Get busy. Then, this is the important little secret. And the secret is withhold your attention when you take them out from a nap or out in the morning. Withhold your attention until they've pottied. Again, I'm going to take you through the routine soup and nuts. If you go to my website, there is a bar that says free downloads, and we've got a house training download there you can get. All right, so we have routine words. I just say outside or papers if I'm paper training a dog. And go to your spot if there's another leg to the journey, and then get busy as they pee or poop. Now, note, you can change any of the words. Dogs aren't tied to, they're not going to suddenly go, oh, I know what that means, because they don't. Dogs learn words as a second language. So you pair the word to the routine and say it as you do it. Say it over and over? No. Say it once. I don't say outside, 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 outside. Sound like a crazy person. Outside as we go to the door. Go to your spot as we go to the spot together initially. Get busy as they potty. Now, I'm going to take you through a typical routine. I have a little puppy. She was here at the start of her show. Her name is Hallelujah, but we call her Lulu. So she sleeps in a crate. My other dogs are grown up and they have their beds that they prefer. But when they're little, consider the crate as a crib. It is not cruel. It is a crib just like a child needs a crib to get to sleep, because if they're given too much of an expanse to rest, they won't do it. They'll fidget. They'll hear a noise. They'll jump up. We want to get your new dog or your new puppy either in a crate or an enclosed room, as close to your room as possible, because they do pick up on the sleep patterns of other people and dogs. Okay, so I wake up, I do my morning stretch before I get out of bed, I get up and I open the crate calmly. I do have a big staircase. Lulu's kind of small. Say outside, I pick her up. I actually hold her away from my body. I don't snuggle and let her kiss my face. Outside, we walk down the stairs. I put her down by the door. I have 3 or 4 other dogs at any given time. And I make them all wait. I let her kind of ring the bell, say outside. Everybody pads out when I say outside. And then I say, go to your spot. Now, what I have is a PP. I call it the PP Palace. It's not really anything an architect created. It's just a fenced area right off my stairs that I teach her to go in first to do her pee-pees. The good thing about this is when she was super little and didn't know her tail from her nose, I would put her in there and wait until she pee-peed to then say, get busy, And then I would give her attention. So if you're really on the first stretch of this house training journey, you can enclose a small area, 3x4, to put your puppy or new dog in. It might have to be bigger, so that they learn to pee-pee right as they get out the door. And why this is important is because when they're little, there's so many things that distract them. They're all new smells. They're just trying to figure out, the world. So I find doing the pen first, giving them attention, is important. Now, here's something that differs dog to dog. Do they do two pee-pees right in a row? Do they do a pee-pee and a poop first thing in the morning? Do they do two pees and a poop first thing in the morning? I want you to give them 5 minutes after they pee, bring them out, give them a little bit of attention, then either put them into another pen, or I preferably just let them wander around the yard a little bit. And this is because motion activates the bowels to kind of move it through. But stay out there no more than 5 minutes. You'll see your dog's pattern. Lulu is 2P every morning. I got to get the first one, got to get the second one. Then, after they've done their pottying routine, you say inside. Either let them follow you in or carry them to the threshold, let them walk in the threshold. Then, feeding time should mirror the time you'd like to sleep to on the weekends. In other words, if you like to sleep until noon on the weekend, you probably shouldn't have a dog. That's a different story. But I'm talking like 7:38 is my sleep-in. So the reason you don't want to feed them if they get up at 6 right away is because then they'll start getting up at 5 minutes to 6, 10 minutes to 6, because their body is saying, feed me, feed me, feed me. So you bring them in. If it's a little early, it's okay to put them back in their enclosed area with a bone. Let's say I'd like to sleep till 7 a.m. My puppy keeps getting me up at 6. It's okay to take them out, let them have pee and a poop or just a pee, whatever. Then bring them in, give them a little bone, put them back in the crate or the enclosed area. Even if they bark for a little bit, it's okay. You're basically saying, yeah, welcome to our home. We love you to death, and we do not get out of bed until 7. So you're going to have to figure that one out. Okay, I'm going off on a lot of tangents, but these are all important. So we're back to our routine. We get up, open the crate. I like to stand to the side of the crate, because if I stand in front of it, my puppy might not come out. So I open the crate, stand to the side, she comes out, and I carry her to the door, take her to the door. I say, go to your spot. We go to the pee-pee. I let her run around for 5 minutes, generally 2 pees and a poop within about 5 minutes. Whether or not she does that, it's time to go inside. She will sleep till 7. That's not an issue for me. So I say inside, and then it's time for breakfast. So I get out all the little things I put into her bowl. I've got the 4 dogs there, but she gets fed first. Why? Because she's a puppy, and they know it. And she's the most starving and the most frantic if I don't get some food in that stomach pretty quick. So I mix her food. She has a special mat. She knows that all good things happen to her when she's on her mat. So she's already sitting on her mat where she lies down. I put the food bowl down next to the mat. She's eating. Then I get to my other dogs. Pretty quick process. They all know the drill. They're all on their mats. And then we go outside for poop and a play. So if they haven't pooped before breakfast, they're going to poop pretty darn quick after breakfast. Older dogs have bladder muscles, so their time may vary, but puppies generally go within like 3 to 20 minutes, depending if they had a poop before. So we go outside, we play. Puppies love play. All training of a puppy should be based on a different game. So, for example, I'll run down my boardwalk, I have a little boardwalk, and I shake my tree cup, or I clap my hands, and I say, puppies, puppies. And then I run away from my puppy. And they love, all my dogs follow me. They remember this game. They love it. So they're all scampering down, and then I tell them to stop. I wait until everybody's on 4 paws, and then I just say, find it, and I put some treats on the floor. You can also hand it to them. So running back and forth is a great game. I have this predatory play pole I love. It's also on my site under products, just regular recommended products. So this little play pole, maybe I've taken some of her favorite stuffed animals, tied them on a rope, and now we're playing with them. Super fun. Oop! Then she has to poop. What does she do? She gravitates away. She orients herself north to south. She has a nice poop. She feels good. So we've taken care of play. We've taken care of potting. We've taken care of eating. She comes in. If she's still thirsty, she might have a little bit of water. I want to monitor that water when they're itty bitty, because until a puppy loses their puppy teeth, they have a ring of taste buds that make water taste like sugar. So let them have a drink. If they keep drinking and keep drinking, just pick it up. Give them some ice cubes to play with. Ice, cold water absorbs faster. And then you'll notice they start slowing down. News flash! When your puppy has eaten, pooped, peed, played, and they start to wind down, it's because they need a nap. Now, if you don't give it to them, here's what's happened. They cycle, they get their second wind, but they're not rested. So they're often more nippy. They can be aggressive. They are just like a whirling dervish. That's not, to me, a sign of a hyperactive dog that needs tons and tons of walks and daycare and stimulation. It's tired of an overtired puppy. So I like to get you on a set routine. Puppies generally are up for an hour or an hour and a half. Then they start to calm down, and that's the time you say, okay, bedtime. You put some high-value treats that they only get when they're in the crate. And the end of it, give them a little wishbone or little chewy that they can have while they're resting, and you leave them alone. If we are chronically overstimulating the dogs, it's going to be hard for them to get their head on straight. So we leave them in their crate, we close it up, or we close the room. If you're worried, your puppy you feel like has a hard time getting to sleep unless you're in the room, you can be in the room, but you're present, not accessible. One of my Sarah Says saying, sometimes you need to be present but not accessible. And that just teaches the puppy to be calm in your midst. Okay, now, so we have routines. Then we go down for our nap when the puppy wakes up from the nap. Young puppies can sleep as many as 4 hours. They need a lot of sleep because their brain is developing. As they mature, they sleep 2 to 3. You get them out and you repeat the process. Rinse and repeat. Outside, go to your spot, get busy, ring the bell, the whole 9 yards. Now, fun fact, dogs, especially if it's hot or it's hot in your house, are going to only be up an hour to an hour and a half midday. Then it's back. You'll see them slow down, get on their mat, try to drift off. Then it's back to their quiet space because young puppies are hyper-stimulated if there's too much commotion. And you have their plastic bone. You drop the milk boats. You close the crate. You can either just leave. I left out a really important part. When you are crate training your puppies, they should be not near a window, but in the middle of the den. I call it middle of the house. I call it the inner sanctum of the den. In a blacked out room, as dark as you can get it, with some sound blocking music. They've done studies to show that dogs like piano classical, they like reggae, seriously, and they like James Taylor or some Rufus Wainwright. So put on some quiet music or some sound machine sounds and leave them be. Please remember that crates are cribs. They are not cruel. And I don't even put a mat in the crib because that's not really cozy. And what if they don't want to be on a mat? What if they're too hot or whatever? I like people to just put old shirts and sweatshirts that you've worn that smell like you. And maybe a stuffy if they like to cuddle up to it like another puppy or a chewy. But make it more a nest than just a cage with a mat. Okay, second nap. We're up, we're out, pee and poop, we're in, we eat, we're out to potty and play. They calm down, put them back in the crate, they get up, 2 or 3 hours later, out to potty, in to eat, out to poop and play. Now, after the second nap, which, I speculate as it happens in my house is around 3 or 4, after that time is the best time to take them on an adventure, socialize them. I took my dog on the train yesterday. I had nowhere to go. I just went a couple blocks down and then one a couple blocks up. But socialize them to everyday noises. Have a puppy play date. Take them to school. Do something. Let's say you have a partner, a spouse, or a kid. You can go to the supermarket. One of you plants outside, getting the puppy used to the sights and the sounds, maybe some friendly people, while the other does the shopping run. Okay, but the time to have the best adventure with a young puppy or a dog that's just getting used to your lifestyle is in that afternoon. So then, right about 6:30 or 7, you will notice your puppy calming down. I know, everybody's going to say, but I don't get home from work until 8 o'clock. Lean in, do what's right for the puppy now, and then when they lose their puppy teeth, you can start to shift them to mirror your schedule. Right now, remember, with their puppy teeth, they're prey animals. They want to stick close to the den, and their routines are kind of scheduled to the sun and to what you repeat with them. So, bedtime is when the dogs start calming down. Let's say 7, 7:30, 8. Put them up. You put the treats in the back. You put the bone in. And if you worried your puppy is thirsty, take some ice cubes, put them in a little dish for the crate. Ice cubes, cold water absorbs faster into the bloodstream. Now, here's what people say. It's so early. He barks. We feel guilty. I have had all those feelings. The difference between you and me is I know those are human feelings, and I know what's best for my puppy. I have a lot of family and friends and young kids flitting in and out. So to me, the most important thing that my dogs know is to come when they're called, to settle down on a mat, to sit for a greeting, and to keep the barking to a minimum. So the training you're focusing on right now is less about strict obedience and more about the routines of everyday life. Embedded in these routines are we eat 2 or 3 times a day. We have activity periods, specifically in the morning after breakfast and in the evening after dinner. By the way, I feed my dogs 4 o'clock. The reason I do this is because that's about when they wake up from their second nap, and bowels take a period of time to cycle. So if I feed my dog at 7 and want to know why they're shrieking at me at 3 in the morning, it's because their bowels are cycling in the middle of the night. So I feed at 4. They go out. 6, 7, 7:30 for the last time. Calmly, I put them in the crate. And then I have myself a jolly good time. If you get in the habit, every time they whimper, taking them out, if your puppy screams and you take them out of the crate, you know what? They don't sleep very deep, and they get you up every 2 hours. We want to create deep sleepers that love that nourishing feeling of being well-rested. Let's cycle around to a few more important things to keep in mind as you're raising your puppy. Puppies' pottying habits are not random. Puppies consistently, and older dogs, consistently go to the bathroom after they've been enclosed or crated for a period of time. Puppies go to the bathroom after they eat and drink. The reason is they have no muscles. They have no bladder muscles until they're quite a bit older. Let's say it's a rainy day and your kids are playing with the dog or you're playing with your puppy, and all of a sudden they stop play, just like dead stop. Immediately say, oh, outside, because they're so engaged with your play, the only thing they're going to pause it to do is potty. But if you don't direct them, they might assume potty on the rug. Then you shout at them, and then all the fun of the games and everything you were doing just halts because now you're mad at them. And please, for the love of God, remember, correcting a puppy or a dog only creates a wedge between you. It's a dog. It's a puppy. It is not a human. So shouting at them comes across as threatening and scary. And it's just not worth it. I mean, it's a dog that's having an accident. Help the dog learn what to do. Don't harp on them for what not to do, because you'll be creating emotional confusion between you, and that's not a good thing. So, potty after they eat or have a long drink. Watch them. Remember if they're giving you a cue. And know your puppy. I had an imprint puppy last week, literally 10 seconds after it finished its meal, it was coming out the bottom end. Of course, I missed the first one, but I got that from then on. I knew eat out right away. We don't have a minute to pause. After they sleep in their enclosed area for a period of time, or they wake up from a long nap. They also may need to go out after they've chewed. So if you ever notice your puppy intently chewing and chewing and chewing, you're like, whoa, they're really into that chew. When they break, they often need to go potty. So what do you do when your puppy's eating and drinking and chewing and playing? You look at them when they pause, or if you need to take a break, and you say, outside. Often the dog will pair that routine with the door, the bell, and going to the right place. And if we do this often enough, boom, we nail it. We have a dog that understands I either go to my papers in a certain area, off to the side, or outside the door. You pick, I want them to go outside or I want them to go inside. Teaching them to do both is another podcast altogether, the not impossible. Okay, so let's go through the most common questions I get with house training puppies and new dogs. Number one, how long does it generally take? And that actually depends on a lot of things. First and foremost, the first 8 weeks of their life. Now, if the dog's been in the shelter is an honest one, it will tell you, yes, they generally leave the kennel run or the indoor area to potty outside. That's a good clue. If you don't know this information, or if you find the dog is peeing or pooping in the house, what's the number one thing you got to do? Shrink the square footage down. Gate them in an area. Try to put a desk there so you can get some work done, so you're not just leaving them alone all day. And then write your routine down. Remember, I have a copy of one of my downloads on my website, but you can also see them in one of my books, or you can also reference one and then just recreate it. The formula that works best for me is 2 solid naps, and then activity periods that start in the morning and late afternoon. An activity period could be playing. It could be taking them on a socialization trip. And it could just be, working on some commands or going on a play date. That's great. It's a great day for a dog. Remember, they like simple. Simple is better. Okay, so how long should it take? It does vary. Some claim if you lock down on the routines I just went, it can be done in a week. And honestly, I've had dogs learn it faster. Never had an accident again. But you don't know what you get until you know what you get. So you may have a puppy or dog who pees in their crate or poops in their crate. Check them out. Make sure they don't have parasites. Make sure they don't have a urinary tract infection. Number one, go to your vet. Get them checked out to make sure all the pipes are working. You might have a dog that's was in a house, maybe a hoarding situation where there was like 140 dogs in the house and they were peeing all over the place. It's going to be challenging, not impossible, but challenging. And it depends also. I find some dogs are fastidiously clean. I had this wonderful dog named Hoot Nanny. From the day we brought her home at 8 weeks, she has never pooped or vomited in front of anyone. She would be just mortified if we caught her pooping. So it was easy. It took no time to house train her. I've had other dogs who had a urinary tract infection that took 6 to 8 months to battle and was never fully housebroken until we got that under control. So the more you lean into the routines and everything I've said on this podcast, the faster it'll go, because you've got eyes on the dog and you're making sure the dog's not just tearing around your house, shaking up their bladder like a snow globe and pissing in every room. So keep on the routine. Be very mindful to be consistent with your whole family. It's going to happen much faster than if there's, your process is all Swiss cheese pocketed with inconsistency. Another question I get a lot is what to do if they have an accident. Okay, so the best ways to handle accidents is chill out. It's a dog or it's a puppy and it made a mistake and it peed or pooped on your rug and life is horrible. Or is it? I would say not. It's not that horrible. So do not give your puppy exposure to rooms that have carpets in them and that you can't roll up. Unless you want to clean up an accident. Then by all means, do that. Number 2, remember and repeat the following statement. It is just an accident. It is just an accident. It is just an accident. It does not mean that 5 months from now, after being very ritualized, positive, and repetitive with your housebreaking routine, that they will still be peeing in the house. One accident is not the end of the world. Yes, they're rehearsing a play called the peeing pooping play that you don't want to witness, but it's not the end of the world. Okay. Just remember that routinely shaming, correcting, yelling at your dog will do one thing and one thing only, and that'll be to ruin your bond. It will not help them understand that you want them to go to the bathroom outside. How does one distract your dog while you clean up the accident? You can take a licky mat. You can hand their leash to somebody else in the house and ask them to take them for a walk, even in the hallway, just till you're done. You can play feed the chickens, or you take a handful of their treats and scatter them all over a foraging mat or even all over the floor. If it's a quick cleanup, not going to take but a second or two. So if you're grappling with house training, you should have your paper towels and your cleaning solution right there. Wipe it up. Choop, choop. Just remember, do not wipe up the mess in front of your puppy. So you wipe it up, you throw it away, you move on. Now, if it's poop and it takes a little while, then you're going to have to be creative. You might have to give them a bone or, again, ask a friend or family member to take them out. Do something positive for them as you clean up their accident. I know, it seems like irony, but do what I'm telling you to. Don't discipline your puppy. Now, people say, well, if they just peed or pooped, should I take them out again? That's a good question because they did it. They're feeling good. Great. In fact, they're laying down. And if you take them out, then it's like a double positive. Not only did I go here and it feels good, I'm going out and that feels equally good. So I'm going to take the 5th on this one. If you caught them in the middle, definitely take them out. If they did a little bit and you're used to seeing more, take them out. But if you take them out, don't repeat like a command 100 times. Get busy, get busy, get busy. Go to your spot, go to your spot, go to your spot, because the frustration is bubbling. It's best to always take the dogs outside when you're in a good mood. And remember, as far as housebreaking a dog goes, teach them what to do. Withhold attention until they potty. And then they focus on pottying and the words, get busy, go to your spot, as a fun thing that you do together. Okay, now here are some other quick questions and then go at it. Should I carry my puppy to the spot? I mentioned before that I have Lulu, the puppy. So she's kind of short-legged and weak-bladdered. She's like 10, 11 weeks old. So I take her, I open the crate, I stand next to it, not in front of her, and she comes out. I take her ribs, I hold her. Actually, I hold her more like this. I hold her out from my body, but I still have her shoulders and her pelvis area supported. And I put her down right next to the door. So we tap the door and she goes out with her little pack. If your dog can hold it to the door, or if you can get a leash on your dog or puppy and get them to the door so they're following the routine, that's ideal. Ideal, ideal. But if your puppy is young, or they can't go down the stairs yet, or they're just too tired to get up and you got to get to work, carry them. Okay, do bells work? I love bells. I did make the mistake of teaching my 11 pets to ring the bell, so it rings a lot. But if you have just a few dogs, a bell can be a great way for them to indicate that they need to get through it to get to the bathroom. Some young puppies ring it all the time. And they're generally ringing it because it gets your attention. They want to go out and play. They hear somebody at the door. So if that's happening to you, what I recommend you do is still ring the bell when you're taking them out, but then hook it over the doorknob or put it at a nearby table so it's not just floating down for them to ring it all the time. That little activity will stop over time. They'll know I ring it when I have to go. And if I ring it to play, my parent knows the drill and won't just take me out for nothing. Should I give my puppy treats after pottying? The answer is a big no. No treats after pottying. And the reason I say this is because many dogs learn they get a treat after pottying, and they pee a little, get a treat, pee a little, get a treat, pee a little, get a treat. And then they're never emptying their bladder. So I recommend after they pee, you've given them some attention, you say inside, as soon as you're inside the door, you've got your puppy, I like to have a little mat at the door the puppy goes on, then give them a treat. So you're giving them a treat for the whole routine. Outside to potty, inside, and then I get a treat. Sometimes if you're too spasmodic after they go, oh, good doggy, good bathroom, that's also a no-no because it gets them all, it shakes their snow globe, and then they get all excited and they jump and nip and run around in a circle, and their mind is so far from what they just did that it makes no sense. Just very calmly go, what a good baby, what a good girl, good boy. Pet them calmly, inside, get their treat there. The final question I'm going to answer today is, where should the spot be that I go to teach my puppy to potty? My clients will say, I love to walk to the neighbors to potty, which is its own conversation. Probably they need a therapist. You never potty train a kid by sending them to the neighbor, and you never go to the neighbor's house to do your business. So please potty train your dog as close to that door as you can. If you have a big yard, you can take them over in the woods perhaps, but make sure the place they potty initially is right by the door. Okay, so that's it. I've covered a lot. I hope you learned something. If you have anyone in your midst, dog lovers, friends, family, that would benefit from this podcast, I would so appreciate you sharing with them. For now, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.